kettlebell. Comrade, the kettlebell has been instrumental in weeding out weakness out of the Russian gene pool. And now you're next. You are on the Soviet territory, and you are becoming a better man. If you don't know how, I'll teach you. If you don't want to, I'll make you. Comrade, before training with a kettlebell, you gotta be able to pick one up safely. So here's the sumo kettlebell deadlift. The drill is, keep your feet wider than your shoulders, toes slightly turned out. Your heels must be planted, your knees pointing in the same direction as your toes. And sit back rather than either dip down or bend over. So sit back like you're sitting in a chair. Look straight ahead. The back must stay straight, not to be confused with vertical, just straight. And your head must not dip down either. Comrade, if your skill or flexibility is lacking in the deadlift, the face-to-wall squat will fix it. If you stand right here and you start squatting, and if you either round your lower back or dip your head and round your upper back, you literally will not be able to go down. So, the wall will face you to push your chest out, to keep your head up, to lift up your tail, and you go down. And you come up nice and slow, nice and controlled. Now this is very important that you don't frog your knees. What does that mean? This kind of stuff, this is cheating. The feet must be flat, completely flat, slightly turned out and flat. So, stay tight, use your strength to get down. You may only be able to get down an inch or two, no problem. Then if you succeeded getting lower, stand closer to the wall. You may even pick up the kettlebell from here later, just to try if you can deadlift properly. See? There we go. The face-to-wall squat will teach you the hard way. Let's make sure you lock out your deadlift properly as well. On the top of the deadlift, there must be a straight line through your whole body, from your legs, through your hips, through your head. Your head should not be sticking out, your butt shouldn't be sticking out, your knees should not be sticking out. Just a straight line. Anything less is not the proper lockout. Comrade, here's the generalization for you. Americans, when they walk forward, they fall forward and catch themselves. Russians, they proudly lead with their bellies. You know, the belly shows up first around the corner, then the rest of the Russian shows up. So whatever cultural reasons, Russians' backs and hip flexors are loose, and Americans are tight, and we're here to fix it. Assume this position, straighten out your arms, get your shoulders feet slightly wider than your shoulders, and do this. And then do this. You see, right here, we're stretching your hips. Keep your elbows locked, squeeze the glutes, and now start loosening up the hips. Loosening them up like this. Keep your elbows locked. Look up and push back to stretch your shoulders. When you're pushing back, make sure you don't let your feet collapse. A little springy movement, and forward again. Stretch, stretch. An excellent stretch to do every day, throughout the day. Because you gotta be able to bring your arms overhead, right here, close to your head. And you gotta lock out with your hips forward, your knees locked. And the pump stretch will get you there. Comrade, the halo will loosen up your shoulders. To protect your back, keep your glutes very tight. Start making circles around your head, and eventually try to make these circles tighter and tighter. Use your abs as you do. Work in both directions. Try not to lean back. Just loosen up that shoulder girdle of yours. Because you're tight, and I'll fix it. Comrade, swinging an iron ball overhead can be dangerous to your health, and any moron should understand that. Let's go over some safety points. Number 1, check with a doctor first, a special orthopedist and a cardiologist. Kettlebell training can be exceptionally intense. Number 2, always be aware of your surroundings. Train on a surface that is flat and where you can drop the kettlebell without worrying about it. Make sure your line of fire is clear. If the kettlebell slips out of your hand, in the worst case scenario, it's not going to hit anybody. If you're training with ladies' rubberized kettlebells, make sure they're not going to bounce on the surface you're training on. And always be aware where the sun is. Be aware. Number 3, wear authorized shoes or go barefoot. Comrade, any fancy sneakers with cushion are plain bad news for you. So either go barefoot or wear shoes that are almost no shoes, such as wrestling shoes, Chuck Taylor's Converse. Number 4, never contest the space with a kettlebell. If the kettlebell wants to fall, get out of the way, clear out. If the kettlebell wants to go this way, don't fight it, let it go. And always remember that quick feet are happy feet. Comrade, practice all safety measures at all times, even with very light kettlebells. Because under stress, we revert to training, and we need to train to do it properly. Ask yourself the question, would I be willing to do this with a 106-pound kettlebell? And if the answer is no, then don't do that. Mentally, always stay with the set until you've released the kettlebell. Let's say you've done your set of swings or snatches, and then you just relax and slump and set the kettlebell down and get hurt. That's really stupid. Lower the kettlebell as if you're planning to do another rep. Then set the bell down. Only then may you relax. Number 6, keep moving when your heart rate is high. When you've done a really hard set of swings or snatches, don't just plop on the ground and suck wind. Keep moving. Walk, jog, shadow box. It's going to make it easier on your heart. Number 7, build up your training load gradually and use common sense. What does it mean? Let's say you're practicing cleans and you start to bang your forearms up. It would be stupid to do so many cleans that get you all bruised up. Do a few cleans every day until you get better and better. While you're at it, practice other exercises to get your conditioning. Do your swings, for instance. Build up your load gradually. Even if the workout says do so many reps and so many sets, you must listen to your body. Number 8, instruction cannot cover all the contingencies, and you always must exercise good judgment. And if you don't have good judgment, why don't you stand the machines, you big sissy? Comrade, start with the right kettlebell. An average gentleman should start with a 35-pounder. It doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, your kettlebell, it's acting like it's alive. It's a lot heavier than it should be. An average lady should start with an 18-pounder. What's average? Well, using the bench press is a misguided but popular test of strength. If you bench press less than 200 pounds, and you're a gentleman, start with a 35-pounder. If you bench more, start with a 44. If you're very, very strong, you're a power lifter, start with a 53. For ladies, again, typical ladies start with 18. Stronger than average lady, start with a 26. If you have the means, get 3 kettlebells. The one that I just recommended and 2 heavier ones as well. Comrade, I dare you to find an exercise that will give you more benefits than the kettlebell swing. It's been said, this is the closest you can get to a fight without throwing a punch. Comrade, the box squat will teach you how to move properly. Observe. Find a box that's tall enough you can sit on. This may be a little too short for you. Tall enough. Then stick your hands right here in these creases. Remember this crease. Push with the ridges of your hands. Notice the weight goes on your heels. Your toes are even coming up slightly. Now keep pushing and start sitting back. Don't go down. Don't go forward. Sit back. Keep sitting back. Stay tight through here. Pull yourself down. Don't fall through. You may have to hold your hands in front for counterbalance. If you're top heavy, you may have to hold on to a kettlebell for counterbalance. So pull. Then you rock back just a little, rock forward. Then you drive your feet hard into the deck, keeping your shin vertical, just like they are stuck in cement. Tense the glutes hard, drive the hips through. Now note what not to do. See, scooping under, no good. Letting your feet come under, no good. What you gotta do, keep the shins vertical. Sit back, stay tight, and stand up very crisply, just with the hips. Your back stays straight, not to be confused with vertical. Comrade, then just let the box squat flow straight into the vertical jump. See, that's the swing. Sit back, load up, extend. Sit back, extend. Power to you. Comrade, the towel swing will teach you how to swing properly, fast. If you do anything funny, like lifting with the arms or scooping, see how it doesn't look good. What you gotta do, you gotta strive to get to the point where the towel and the kettlebell form a straight line on the top. See, the arms are loose. And your body also forms a straight line on the top. So you just do this. If it tends to pull you forward, you just let her go. Don't want to get yourself hurt. So when these lines are straight, when the kettlebell hangs weightless for a moment, see, hangs weightless, you're ready for the next step. And set it down safely. Comrade, once you learn how to keep your arms loose, drive with the hips, extend completely on the top with the towel swing, you can try the regular two-handed swing. So pick it up safely. Right here, see, right here, swing it back. Pick it up, cut the kettlebell safely, drive with the hips, up to your chest level, keeping your arms loose. Hike past the kettlebell behind you on the way down. See, just hike past it. Hike past it. Your butt back, hike past it, fold through the hips. And it gets loose, and set it down, nice and safe. On the top, tense the glutes really hard. Put your feet down, and pull up your kneecaps. Don't lean back. Enjoy the pain. Once you mastered the two-handed swing, you can move up to the one-handed swing. Don't grip the kettlebell tight, just hook it, sort of hook it, and keep the arm loose. Observe. You don't have to start very high. You can start low and then build up the height. And then as you get better, you can switch your hands on the fly. Notice if the kettlebell starts pulling you forward, just let go. Don't try to recover it. Otherwise, on the top of the swing, pull the shoulders slightly towards you, so the kettlebell comes towards you. Same forceful breathing. Arm goes back to load up. And if the kettlebell pulls you forward, let go. The task, the swing, the condition, the grivik, the kettlebell lifter, will swing a kettlebell between his legs and then in front of him up to the chest level for repetitions. The standard, number 1, maintain the box squat alignment during swings and when picking up or setting down the kettlebell. That means A, the head up, B, a straight, not to be confused with upright back. C, sit back rather than dip down. Number 2, extend the hips and knees fully on the top. The body must form a straight line. Number 3, the kettlebell must form an extension of the straight and loose arm on the top of the swing. Comrade, the get-up will develop shoulders that can take punishment. and dish it out. Let's start from the beginning. Pick up the kettlebell with 2 hands. Pick it up with 1. We call this the broken arm position. Bad idea. Press it up. Keep your elbow locked. Pretend there's a power source in the elbow. Sends energy up and down at the same time. So it's down here and up there. Wrist is tight. None of this stuff. Push with his foot. Just do this a few times. Abs tight. Maybe that's all you can do today. It's all right. Gradually build up and prop yourself up and sit up. Come back down. Okay, at this point, you gotta get up. How you get up, it's your business. Anything that feels comfortable is safe to you. Keep your elbow straight. Keep your arm vertical. Keep your wrist tight. Now you can stretch your shoulder. Do this a couple times. It's optional. Head back down. Keep your elbow straight. So think of pushing yourself away from the kettlebell. Make the movement seamless. Seamless. Protect your face. And set the kettlebell down. Seamless and tight. The task, the get-up, the condition. The Girievik will lie on his back and bring a kettlebell to the floor press lockout with both hands. He will let go of the kettlebell with the assisting arm and slowly stand up while keeping his arm straight and vertical. He may assist himself by pushing with the free arm into the ground. Slowly reverse the movement. The standard, number 1, lift the kettlebell from the ground and return it with both hands. It's an elbow safety measure. Number 2, at no point allow the kettlebell to hyperextend and stress the wrist. Keep the handle at the base of the palm and keep your wrist tight. Number 3, lock your elbow and keep it locked for the duration of the set. Number 4, don't do anything that you would not or could not do with the very heavy kettlebells. That implies keeping your arm vertical and totally control the kettlebell and your whole body at all times. Number 5, never do more than 5 consecutive reps per arm and never train to failure. Comrade, you can't put a kettlebell up overhead until you can bring it up in one clean movement to your shoulder. Hence, the clean. We'll start with the grip. See, stick your kettlebell in here, stick your hand inside the kettlebell, and let the weight rest on this point right here. So if you were to pump strike something, that's where the weight is resting. And the wrist must stay neutral. Don't let your wrist bend back. It's really bad news for you. Right here, you can even wiggle your fingers. Then your shoulder must come down and relax. But your glutes are tight. Tense the glutes. Protect the back by tensing the glutes. Your arm is pressed against your body. You don't want it out here. Press tight against your body. Your elbow is like protecting your spleen or your liver. It's right in here. You don't want to kettlebell go out here. See, this is bad. We call it the broken arm position. Ladies, though, they have to hold the kettlebell slightly out to the side because you don't want to be banging up your breast, either with the kettlebell or with your arm. But gentlemen, keep the kettlebell really close, right in here, really close. Abs tight, glutes tight, shoulder loose, wrist straight. You're ready to clean. Comrade, a very important concept in our system of training is relaxed tension. When you perform your quick lifts, they're very similar to karate punch. You're very loose, loose, loose. Suddenly you're just very tight. You're loose and you're tight. Your arms stay very relaxed, but the hips are driving hard. Arm, relax, hips, hard, compressed breathing. Same thing in the clean. Same thing in all these different lifts. So you gotta know how to get this pressurization through here while keeping your arms loose, really loose. Very good thing to do is practice these kind of relaxation exercises between your sets. Just shake it off so you can go from loose to tight to loose to tight. That's relaxed tension. So comrade, you've put up the kettlebell right here using two hands. You let go with one hand. You found this very nice comfortable spot right here. The kettlebell's sitting very comfortably in this triangle, very snugly. The arm is snug against the body, your glutes are tight. You're feeling pretty darn good. You're ready for the next step. The next step is learning how to drop the kettlebell. It's extremely important for your safety that you keep your arm loose, completely loose, just whip loose. So what you do is this, you just hike past the kettlebell behind you and just let go. Just throw it outside, obviously. Then pick it up with two hands again, and once again, just hike past. And as you hike past, your thumb will turn down. And keep practicing it until your arm gets completely loose on the release. There should be no tension in the elbow whatsoever. Once you have succeeded doing that, then just retrace the whole works. So here you are, up with two, comfortable clean. Okay, the wrist feels good, everything's nice and snug. And now hike pass and retrace. Hike pass and retrace. Don't bang yourself up. So pretend that you're cleaning to your waist, not to your shoulder. That's going to keep the arc much tighter. And drop the kettlebell really close to your groin. Really close. Drive with the hips. Let the kettlebell roll around your forearm. Something important also, don't do too many cleans until they're perfect. For the sake of your elbows and for the sake of not banging yourself up. Get your conditioning with your swings and just practice your cleans. Comrade, cleaning the kettlebell right out here, we call it the broken arm position, as they call it in arm wrestling, is a bad idea. Hard on your elbow, wrist, and shoulder. You gotta keep it closer to the inside. Here's the hard way to learn the skill. Keep your hand up to protect yourself should the kettlebell bounce off the wall. See, the wall is gonna teach you the hard way. There's another skill the wall will teach you. How not to drop the kettlebell too far in front of you. This is not good. You gotta drop it really close. So here we are. Keep your hand up for guard. Can't even get closer. See? Tight. Tight. The wall is a good teacher. The task, the clean, the condition. The Gyrevik will pick up a kettlebell and swing it back between his legs as a first swing, then bring it to the rack in one smooth movement. He will then drop the kettlebell back between his legs and repeat the drill for reps. The standard, all the points that apply to the swing, minus the straight arm requirement on the top. Note that there is no knee dip when the kettlebell is racked. Number 2, the kettlebell, the elbow, and the torso must become one on the top of the clean. The shoulders must be pressed down. Number 3, the arms must stay loose and the hips must do all the work. Number 4, the kettlebell must travel the shortest distance possible. Number 5, unacceptable scooping, banging the forearms, stressing the back, elbows, wrists, or shoulders. Ladies may not hit their breasts with the arms or kettlebells. Comrade, the press, the classic test of upper body strength, one of the best exercises for the upper body. And in some parts of Russia, it's a rite of passage from boy to man, pressing a 70-pound kettlebell. Step 1 for mastering the press is the clean. Your press is only going to be as good as your clean. When you catch the bell, make sure your body's fully loaded. It's like ready to release that springy energy. Note how not to clean. See the kettlebells moving all over the place? You're leaking power, sagging everywhere. Now note how to clean. Forearm is vertical. Glutes tight, abs tight. Everything goes on my feet. Spring energy. Spring energy. You're ready to blast off. Comrade, here's the technique that will teach you how to press right. Stand inside the doorway and put your hands up. Your hands should be slightly above your head, so you may have to stand on a box. Then push up against the bar. Notice that your shoulders don't feel too good, your elbows don't feel too good, even your back. No, it doesn't feel good at all. Now let's try it a different way. This time, let's try to push yourself away from the bar. And at the same time, make sure you keep your kneecaps pulled up, glutes very tight, so your body's not going to collapse under. So, you pull up your kneecaps, you tense the glutes, now you push yourself away from the bar. Something very different is happening. This is very, very interesting. Breathe shallow as you do that. Notice how much stronger you suddenly feel. Notice that your shoulders feel good. See, they come in the sockets, and the lat is firing. It's very important that when you press a weight, you always use your lat. You always press from the lat. When you do a get up, press from the lat. Press from the lat. But let's try this again. So you're here, inhale, then breathe shallow, pull up your kneecaps, tense up. In fact, grip the ground with your toes. Pull up the quads, tense the glutes, tighten your abs. And now breathe shallow and start pushing, pushing, pushing. Breathe shallow. Notice your body's starting to compress. Feels very, very strong. That's how you have to press when you press the kettlebell. Same way, one arm press. Tighten up, push yourself. See, push up. See how weak this is? The shoulder separates from the body. It's vulnerable, it's weak. Now push yourself away. This is a totally different ball game. This is firing, this is strong. Everything is strong and tight. It's like you're trying to wedge yourself between the kettlebell and the ground. Comrade, the groove of the kettlebell press is circular. So you press it out to the side, keeping the forearm vertical, and then bring it back close to your head. You see the elbow locks on the top. It's very important. So it's a circular movement. It goes out to the side, and it locks right here. See, the biceps gets really close to your ear on the very top. It's a circular movement. One more time, the forearm stays vertical. Don't try to press the kettlebell straight up. Press it out to the side, and then come back home. Don't forget to lock your elbow. Comrade, breathing, extremely important for your performance and safety. There are many ways to power breathe. The important point is that you do stay tight whenever your body is under stress. If you're pressing a kettlebell and you suddenly take a deep breath and relax, watch what's going to happen. It's not going to look good at all. So you're pressing the kettlebell. See, your body starts collapsing. This is very, very bad. Or you're right here. You decided to relax. Once again, your back becomes in danger. What you need to do is you need to stay tight. You can breathe if you want, but you got to breathe as some karate practitioners say, breathe behind the shield. Your abs must stay tight. Right now I'm tight, but I'm still breathing. And somehow find a way of breathing in sync with your movement. So breathe behind the shield. Don't ever, ever relax your air when your back is possibly vulnerable. Breathe behind the shield. Comrade, I'm going to show you how not to lower your kettlebell. So here you are on the top of the press, and then you just kind of yield and relax to, hurts your shoulder. Not good at all. You got to not yield to the weight. You got to actively pull that weight down. Pretend that from here, you're either performing a one-arm chin or an elbow strike, where you pull very tight with the lat, very tight, and bring your elbow across the body. Looks like this. So here you are, and then you pull across your body. Load, press, pull with the lat, pull with the oblique, glutes very tight, press. That's how we do it. The task, the military press, the condition, the gyrivik will clean a kettlebell and presses strictly overhead to lockout. The standard, number 1, pause motionless with the kettlebell erect long enough to make sure you will not be using momentum generated by the clean for the press. Number 2, press with your knees locked and with a minimal back or and side bend. Number 3, keep your whole body, especially the midsection, tight. Number 4, keep your pressing shoulder down. Number 5, lock out your elbow completely and pause motionless. Comrade, the snatch, the czar of the kettlebell lifts. It's a swing with a punch up on the top. The first step to work up to it, once you get your swings down, your get-ups down, is the high pull. Observe. So what you try to do is you're driving to the top, extend the hips, lean into the kettlebell, and the kettlebell should become parallel to the deck. That's the high pull. Hike past the kettlebell behind you. Hike past it. The high pull. Comrade, the snatch is a three-stage rocket. The first stage is the most powerful and the slowest. It's the hips. The second stage is the shoulder. When you yank your elbow back, your shoulder back, not your biceps. It's not as powerful, but it's quicker. Finally, the third stage is like a jab, your arm overhead. It jabs quickly, but it's got no power. By the time the kettlebell has reached your head, the kettlebell must be weightless. So observe. The next logical question is, how do you not bang up your forearm when you're overhead? Well, what you do is, you don't let the kettlebell come around you. You come around the kettlebell. You just sneak under the kettlebell, or you sneak around the kettlebell. Watch the clean. Do you see? In the clean, you don't do this. You don't do bam. No. In the clean, hand sneaks under. So in the snatch, sneak under too. Punch up, and sneak under. Notice the wrist. Do you see? I can just open my hand and wiggle my fingers. Don't bend your wrist back. It's very important. Don't bend it back. Comrade, your shoulder and elbow health. Another very important point right there. Well, first of all, by the time you snatch, you must have enough flexibility to lean forward into the kettlebell with your arm right here, outside your ear, nice and straight. If you cannot do that, you shouldn't be snatching yet. So work on your get-ups and work on your stretches. Second step, you gotta suck your shoulder into the socket and lock your elbow on impact. Here's a very good way to drive the point home. If, and I don't want you to do this, but pretend, mental experiment. If you start jumping up and down and your arm is loose, you see how hard it is on your shoulder? It kills you. If on the other hand, every time you jump, you suck your arm into the socket every time you jump, and suck your elbow, lock your elbow, then it's going to protect it. So, when the kettlebell's up here, power it up from here down to here. Suck it in, okay? Suck it in. Do you see? It's sunk in before the kettlebell hit it. Shoulders in before the kettlebell hit it. Well, the drop. You know the drop, okay? Just go between the legs. Hike pass. Swing the arm behind you. Swing it forward. Drive with the hips. Fingers nice and open. Sneak under the handle, and you're in business. You lean into the kettlebell. But even as you lean into the kettlebell, the force does not wrench your shoulder. It sinks straight into the body. A good way to teach yourself to do that is snatch the kettlebell and go for a walk. Feel how it's sitting in the shoulder. And once again, drop the kettlebell, snatch it, go for another walk. Finally, switch hands. And keep on going. The snatch for the android work capacity and the pain tolerance of an immortal. Comrade, some more subtle points on safety. Number one, hips first. A good athlete moves from his hips, not from his back, not from his knees. So, here's the drill. Stick your hands in these creases right here and just push. Try to separate the chin and your tailbone. Separate them as far apart as you can. See, so you get down by moving at the hips first. On the way up, also, you come up with the hips. Not with the back, not with the knees, with the hips. Remember, always hips first. Number 2, don't slump forward after you're done lifting. Slumping forward could put your back in danger. So don't stretch forward, don't slump forward. Some stretching like this after lifting is a great idea. Relaxing, lying down on your stomach, reading a book is another one. Comrades, stay tight through your waist. Pretend that you're bracing for a punch, and that can be arranged. Number 4, stay loose in your arms in the quick lifts. See, the arms, they're just passing the power generated by the hips, so they must stay whip loose. Number 5, tame the arc. The hand-to-hand clean demonstrates very clearly what to do and what not to do. First observe what not to do. Ow. See, let it go fly too far forward, could hurt your back. Let it go too far back right here, could hurt your back, wrist, shoulder. Now let's try the same thing, but let's tame the arc. Let's toss the kettlebell behind you, hike past it, really close to your groin. And let's not over pull it, but keep it really close in. So it goes here, and then comes here. Goes here, comes here. The same thing whenever you perform your cleans. See, you tame the arc. Your snatches, everything. Tame the arc. Number 6, keep your shoulders in their socket. In fact, let's go to the pull-up bar. I'm going to show you something. Comrade, when the kettlebell is overhead, you must keep your shoulder in the socket. When your arm comes up, when your shoulder comes up, it becomes very vulnerable. Think about it. If you make the shoulder a part of your body, how much stronger it's going to become. Here's a simple drill to teach you to do that. Hang in a pull-up bar, this close together, lock your elbows, and then without bending your elbows, pull yourself up. Pull yourself up. Pull your shoulders into the sockets. What you will feel is this comes in together, into your body, and the elbows are really close to your ear. Right here. That's the position that you need to be in whenever you're performing kettlebell overhead lifts. Right here. Number 7, do not hyperextend your wrist. This is really bad news. Spear the hand through the kettlebell. Keep this straight. Keep this tight. When you do snatches, you can relax the grip, but you still may not allow this to happen, so stick the hand in. When you press, squeeze the handle tight. Number 8, keep your elbows straight. On the top and on the very bottom. It's very important. On the top, the elbow is locked completely. It's essential for protecting your shoulder. On the bottom of the swing, the elbow must go completely loose. Swing, clean, snatch. This is not a curl. The elbow goes loose. The arm is not fighting. Number 9, take care of your hands, because ripped calluses means lost training time. Try not to pinch your calluses too much. When you hook in the kettlebell, hook it with the fingers, then whenever it passes to the heel of your palm, just try not to pinch those calluses. And comrade, if you must use those metrosexual hand creams or whatever, just use that. That's all right. I give you permission. Comrade, in an old movie, a Soviet defector goes to the American supermarket for the first time, looking for coffee. In the old country, he's used to being told, we have coffee, or, more often, we have no coffee. So this is the diversity. There are so many different types of coffee, and the man has a nervous breakdown. This could happen to you, because the Russian kettlebell is like that. There's an amazing diversity of kettlebell exercises and applications, which is why you're going to do things the Russian way. 2 choices, coffee or no coffee, a pull and a press. You may do other exercises, but they're just bells and whistles. The focus are the pull and the press, because the kettlebell snatch will develop a fighting man's conditioning and spirit, hard-driving hip power, and a handshake that others notice. And the press, in some parts of Russia, Pressing a 70-pound kettlebell is a rite of passage from boy to man, as it should be. Just remember, when we say kettlebells, we mean strength. When we say strength, we mean kettlebells.
Comrade, enter the kettlebell. It has been weeding out weakness out of the Russian gene pool for 300 years. Now, it's your chance to get desissified. Enter the kettlebell. Comrade, the manly process of making a Russian kettlebell starts with the pattern. It's a very complex and expensive process. It takes about 2 weeks to make this pattern. Here's how this works when it's made. This is called the gate. This is where metal is going to be, the hot liquid metal is going to be poured down. Then it goes into this pattern. From the pattern, it goes into the riser. What's the riser? You see, there's a lot of gases and slag when you're pouring it down. So those gases and slag goes into the riser. And so does the excess metal. Later on, when the kettlebell cools off, it shrinks. We don't want that. We don't want it to be light. So the extra metal will come in from the riser into the pattern. So your manly kettlebell is of the right size. The next step, making the mold. Sand is gonna come down from here, it's called the blast. Then it's gonna get compressed. Then it's gonna get flipped. Then we're gonna make one more, just like that. Then we're gonna put them together, just like a sandwich. That's gonna make you a mold. The 106-pound kettlebell, or the beast, is too big to be contained in there. So this is where we make it. The conveyor will take these molds to be filled with molten iron. Comrade, this is the melt furnace. The magnet drops scrap iron into it. It gets melted hot enough to be a kettlebell. Now, they're pouring hot iron into the crucible. It's hot. It's manly. These strong guys can't drag this huge thing around all over the place. So now, they're gonna pour the iron into a smaller crucible. And the soon-to-be kettlebell is on its way. Now, hot iron is being poured into the mold. The mold is surrounded by the jacket and topped with a weight. Here comes the hot kettlebell. The vibrating conveyor helps it get rid of the sand, and off we go. Comrade, this is the Wheelabrator. Inside the kettlebells, rough kettlebells, get sandblasted. And if the kettlebell didn't turn out just right, it goes to the junk pile of history next to communism. It's done. The working men have done their part. The rest is up to you. Just remember, when we say kettlebell, we mean strength. When we say strength, we mean kettlebell.